project, I'm going to make over this Dollar Tree unfinished wood tree, and I'm going to use some scrapbook paper that I got out of a Christmas paper pad. If I can find it, I'll link it below. I am not kidding you guys. I have at least 10 to 15 Christmas paper pads. That's not counting just the regular Christmas paper I bought by the sheet, but that's how many like paper pads I have because I have a paper addiction. So I have enough Christmas paper to last me in a lifetime of Christmas crafting. So I will link it if I can still find it. I think I bought it last year, so we may be good. So I'm just going to cut the tree out as you see here, and I will glue it down onto our unfinished piece of wood. You'll see that that checkered print paper. I was going to use it, and then I decided against it. So I'm just using this black snowflake paper. And I'm just trying to give a real neutral DIY look here. And so I grabbed a tag from the paper pack. Again, you could just cut that out of a piece of printed paper or plain paper. And then I grabbed two of the ornaments off of those that I showed you earlier and some ribbon that I also had picked up from Walmart. And I'm just going to embellish this tree. It's very simple, but I'm just kind of using my old school paper crafting techniques on this, which is just kind of to add several embellishments and just give it that fun. It's simple, yet it looks super high end. And so I'll just keep decorating this until I'm finished. These ornament signs from Dollar Tree are some of my favorite to make over. I mean, they're cute on their own, but there's just an endless possibilities of how to make them over. So I'm going to use two more sheets of scrapbook paper from that pack I showed you previously, and I'm going to use some of this contact paper to put across the background. Dollar Tree does carry several of these. They have this one that looks like wood, and they have another one that's just kind of a creamy with some splattering. But the one I use, I did buy off Amazon, and I will link it below. I use it on tons of projects. It's a very good deal. And I kind of like using contact paper because it's so easy because it's already sticky. So it's just a really quick way to add a background to a project. And so I'm just going to cut this out. I will stick it down, and then I'll cut around the ornament to finish it off. Now the one thing that I do regret slightly on this is I would have put the wood panel looking horizontally instead of vertically. I mean, it still looks good vertically, but I probably would have done it horizontally if I were to make it again. Okay, so now I'm going to cover this Dollar Tree wood truck in paper. Not a huge fan of painting, so if I can cover it in paper, I'm gonna. So I'm just taking a little bit of this green pattern paper, and I'll trace around my tree and then I'll cut it out and Mod Podge it onto this truck. And then I'll take the red plaid and I will trace the truck around with that one. Okay, so now that I have my truck cut out, now I'm just going to take really any tool you want. This edge works great. I'm going to go ahead and rub around the 3D surfaces. So what this will do is it'll kind of make a bend in my paper, and it will give me a guideline of where I can cut with my X-Acto knife. X-Acto knives are kind of one of those things where I say don't go too cheap, although I haven't tried the Dollar Tree one. Maybe it's great. I don't know. But I have a really nice X-Acto knife, and I think that makes a difference, especially when you're going to cut these out. So again, I'm just kind of rubbing around. You could actually just rub around with your finger. I just have this Dollar Tree tool that I love, and it really helps. So once I have rubbed around all the edges that are 3D, I will move it to my cutting mat, and I will cut them out with my X-Acto knife. After I fit my pieces on the truck, I could see where there might be a little bit of naked spots, and I didn't want this wood to show through. So I'm going to go over this truck with just a Sharpie pen. I'm going to go and outline around the entire thing. That way when I put my paper down, if there's any spots that'll show wood, you'll just see black. Okay, so now I will just Mod Podge this paper down to the truck. I hope this didn't intimidate you. I swear it's easy. It's just a bunch of tracing and cutting. So again, don't be intimidated. I think you can do it. And it looks so good. Now you could actually do this and have two different patterns, and that will look really neat too. So I noticed just a couple more maybe little naked pieces. So again, I just kind of take my Sharpie and trace around those spots. I'm being a little bit nitpicky here. I think it looks fine the way it is, but if you just want to go that extra mile and get every detail, then that's what I'm doing right here. So I just want to add a little something to my truck door. You could put like a little wreath on it. I had these cute ornaments from Walmart in my stash here. You've seen me use a lot of little Walmart items, and I just thought this one says like Tree Farm. It's just perfect. So I'm going to glue that to the door. I'll glue my truck down to the ornament. I'm going to add a couple of these bows. They're just the simple tire shoe type of bows. Again, refer to my bow video if you need a little more help on those. So I love these garland covered items that Dollar Tree sells for every holiday because they have a really good base underneath. And so I'm not a fan of how they look as is, not my style, but you can take all of this tinsel, garland, whatever you want to call it, off, and you get this plastic base. And then when you cover it in twine, it just gives it this really great rustic farmhouse look, and it's super easy and inexpensive to do. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's nothing hard to do. Okay, so as you see here, we're getting down to this plastic base. Now the base is two pieces that are being held together by all this garland. I typically will, in this case, since I'm going to put it on a sign, I'm only going to use half of it because I don't need the bulk of it being 3D. If it's something I'm going to have standing, like some of their Christmas trees and different things they have, then I'll use both pieces. But since I don't need them this way, I can just pull them apart. So actually, I could make two signs out of this. I'm making it look difficult, but they pop apart really easy. Like I said, I've got a wounded finger. It makes things way more difficult. And then they also have these little like pokes. I don't know how to describe these little knobs, I guess would be on the outside. That's what was holding that tinsel in place. And so I'm just going to cut those off. And I was using my wire cutters here until I realized how soft these were. And then I just moved over to scissors, and it was way easier just to use my scissors. It's a very, very soft plastic. I've had other ones that are a little harder, and I've used the wire cutters, and so that's why I started out with those, but this particular one only needed to use my scissors. So I'm just going to cut off those little nubs that go all the way around to have a flat surface, and then I'm just going to string that twine all the way around and use some hot glue in a couple places to keep it in place, and then I will get to the next step of the project. Okay, and now that the candy canes are covered, we'll move on to the sign. So I picked this up from Dollar Tree. The reason I liked this sign and I picked it up is because it has that frame backing on it. I like that because it can stand up on my tabletop decor without needing to be leaned up against the wall. I tend to make a lot of signs that are kind of flat and they need to stand up against something. And so this way, this one can stand alone, and I really like that idea. It's a really cute sign. I found it over in their little girly section that they have with all the unicorns and mermaid stuff. And what I just cut off there was a string with paper clips, no, clothespins on it, that I think is meant to just be able to hang some pictures or something like that. So I'm using another one of the gift boxes that I found in a 3-pack. I just liked it for the print. I kind of want to show you some different options if you don't want to go beyond Dollar Tree. If you just want to stick there, don't want scrapbook paper or not. So this is a box that you can use for a background. Don't count out fabric, which I'm going to use on the next DIY. Just kind of like to show you some options there. And I just really liked that this was kind of like a gray buffalo check. I really liked that. And since it's a little thicker, it covers the sign better. I don't have to do anything to the sign like sand it or paint it or do anything like that. So as you see, I'm just going to glue that down. And then once that's glued down, I'm going to start embellishing my candy cane. And I'm going to get out some of these ribbons. I have this huge thing of ribbon here that I got from Michael's last year after Christmas. It's normally $17. I can't imagine paying $17 for ribbon, but I'm pretty sure I got it for either 80 or 90% off. And it's a giant roll, so I'm gonna have to think of a big project to use for it. And so I'm just kind of grabbing some of the ribbons out of my stash. Again, I get these for 80 or 90% off after the season is over. And then the next year I have so much fun to play with. It's so fun. So I'm just taking 3 different ribbons here and kind of just tying them all together, coming up with something here. And then I thought I was going to be done with just putting a bow on. But then I remembered I have those ornaments again from Walmart, and I found the perfect one that I thought went with this so well. And so I'll add that one to it. And then at the end of this project, I realized that I just don't love the way that the borders of this project look. It's just, I don't know. So I decided to sand the edges, and I think that made a big difference. It finished the edges, it gave it a little bit of a rustic edge because it goes down to the white paper. And so that is how I finished off this project. This is just a quick DIY sign. I picked this up from the dollar spot at Target. I have some ribbon, and I just did another thing on my Cricut. It says naughty, and I gnome it. So this was just a fun, quick thing to add to this gnome decor. I think I'm going to do just a gnome themed tree. Again, me and my clearance shopping, I bought some trees, some little tiny ones after Christmas. And so I haven't even seen them out of the box, but I'm going to do one in gnomes. So I'm just going to add this little ribbon bow to the top, and then I decided that the bottom just needed a little something extra, so I glued the same ribbon down at the base. To make this faux birchwood candle holder, this is a new item that I just found at Dollar Tree recently, along with this lightweight spackling also from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to start grabbing some of this and rubbing it onto this. I guess this would probably be a pencil holder. It was in their craft section and it's really nice looking. And they also had it in square. And so I'm just going to just push it down, and it doesn't stick super great. You're going to see little pieces fall off, but if you just take your fingertips, push down, and just go slowly around it, it does stick, and it will look so neat. Just wait and see. And once it's dried, I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of sandpaper and I am going to lightly, and I mean very lightly, sand this down. It has a really neat texture, but there's some little pokies and things, so I'm just barely touching it with the sandpaper, and it just smooths it out perfectly. And now I'm going to cover it with a cashew colored paint from Waverly, and I'm just going to put that around the whole thing. And this kind of seals it in, kind of helps with the dust that was coming off of it. And now I'm going to take hazelnut, and I'm just going to make a very light line onto this. And this is where we're going to make that faux birchwood. And at first I found that I was using too thick of a brush. I end up switching it out, but it's okay if you make a little bit of a mistake like I just did. I end up doing it more on purpose because it makes just a deeper brown going around it, and it makes it look like it has some depth. So here I just go for that really straight tipped brush, and it makes for the lines to be much thinner. So I'm just going to play around here. I'm going to go around making these little marks, and then I'm going to darken up some spots, and then lastly I'm going to make that where it kind of looks like the wood is peeling away and you've revealed kind of that dark black spot. Here's where I just do that little darker spot. I play around with some of the colors to give it that depth and just how the birchwood looks. To finish off, I just put this little piece of pool noodle in and some of this Spanish moss on top. You really could put anything you want inside. This just seemed to fit perfect. And then once that's on there, I just put this little battery operated tea light right on top and set it inside. And it makes the cutest and most rustic looking birchwood candle holder. Okay, so this last project really doesn't feel like much of a DIY, but I picked up this cute sign from Dollar General for $1, and this sign from Walmart for 98 cents that you saw at the very beginning of the video. I just thought, yeah, I'm just going to pop it off right here. I just thought this little easel stand was so cute. I knew that it didn't go with my decor, even though it's super cute. And so what I go ahead and do is just pop off that from the stake, glue it to this sign, and now I just have a new tabletop decor. And so for $2, I made this. Realize not a whole lot of problems here, but it's the way you can marry two items to make it something that works for you. Okay, this is my favorite project of this video. So I'm using one of these decor pieces from the Dollar Tree. And then I found these cute little gnome ornaments on a site called Craft Deals. I got all sorts of gnome unfinished wood, and they have a bunch of other unfinished wood. So I will definitely link that below. A very affordable pricing. So yeah, the site is amazing. So anyhow, I'm going to take apart this truck. I'm going to take the tree off. And then after I do that, I'm going to sand off the Merry Christmas glitter. And since that's going to leave kind of a, a film afterwards, then I'm just going to cover it with a coat of red chalk paint. Okay, I wish I knew which DIYer I saw with this little ladybug vacuum. That totally influenced me to buy one. But anyhow, it totally vacuums up your glitter or any little, pieces. It's a must. It's a must to have. I want to say it's like $10. I will link that below too. Okay, and as you can see, I already painted my truck. I painted it with the crimson red paint, chalk paint, and now I'm going to use this ivory chalk paint to paint my gnome beards. For their hats, I had some of this buffalo check just scrap ribbon that, I can't throw the scraps away, so I'm just using a little bit of this detailed glue that I got from Dollar Tree, and then I'm just going to glue this piece of ribbon as their hat, and then I will just cut around it. I found a couple pink beads in my stash, so I thought those would make cute noses. You could use little mini pom-poms. You could just draw the nose on, so all sorts of little things. And then I did have some of these white pom-poms, and I just kind of cut it down and roll it to use on the tip of his hat. So with my Cricut, I cut out the words "rollin' with my gnomies." And so I'm just going to add that to the front of this truck. Okay, here's where clearance shopping comes in handy. I got this sign for 49 cents at Ross. This was like, who knows how far past Christmas, but way past Christmas, and it was still in their stuff. And it's a cute sign. I don't really have much green in my decor, but so I could just cover this with a coat of black paint to cover up the words, but I was kind of getting tired by this point. So I just used a piece of black cardstock and I just glued that piece of cardstock down. And then I'm just going to kind of start, once I get this piece down, I'm going to glue my truck on. I'm going to glue my gnomes back in the truck and add a bow, and this project will be complete. This is a new sign that I found at Dollar Tree. I love it. This is Snowflake. It's from Michael's. It was on sale for $1, and some more of these ornaments from Walmart, as well as some more of the antique wax and some ribbon. And what I love about this snowflake is that it already has that whitewash rusticness to it, so I didn't even have to do anything. So that was pretty great. So first you're just going to cover this little wooden sign with this antique wax. And once that's done, it's just a matter of gluing everything down. So I just hot glue down the snowflake, then the little ornament charm and a bow, and that is it. This project is done. Super fast, super quick, but it looks really amazing. For this last project, I'm going to make over this cute little tabletop sign. It's one of my favorites to make over, and I'm going to use this Dollar Tree ornament that comes in a pack of 5. I love the ornaments they put out this year, the wood ones. They've got that laser cut, and they just look really high end. So I was excited about that. And it fits perfectly on that good morning. So I'm just going to pop that off. It comes out so easily. And then I'm going to cover that pink background in this scarf that I also got from Dollar Tree last year. And so I'll just cut that square bigger than the square that's there, and I'll wrap it like a present. And that backing pops off pretty easily as well. I thought I might be able to save the little hanging part. What do they call that? A sawtooth hanger. I could save that without having to take it off, but I did have to unscrew it and take it off to pop this out. So again, once I get that popped out, I will put the fabric onto the back. I'm going to paint this ornament in Crimson by Waverly. I keep forgetting that I am like totally out of this paint, so I'm going to just make it work, get enough out to cover this. Thankfully, chalk paint covers really well with not a lot, so I need to remember to go get some more. And I was even at Walmart, darn it, but you know that's how it goes. You always forget. And then I'm going to use the Waverly black chalk paint. Actually, I think it's called ink, and cover this good morning part of this sign. For this first project, I'm going to use one of these sleds from Dollar Tree. They're cute on their own. I'm going to rustic this one up. And some of the tree stems, branch stems, whatever you want to call them, from Dollar Tree. 2 sheets of this scrapbook paper, and this stem that I picked up from Joann's. It, I believe, is normally $3.99. I got it for like $1 last year, but any stem will do. So I'm going to trace out this sled. That's hard to say. Not shed, but sled on this piece of paper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the sled all the way to the right on this paper. It's really important that you do this on both pieces so that your lines match up. And I'm just going to grab a piece of sanding paper here and just sand off that lovely glitter. And then I will use some Mod Podge and I will put the scrapbook paper on top of the sled. Because this is a little bit thicker wire on the stem, I'm going to use my tin snips. I will link a pair of them below. They definitely help me out because I do have weaker hands, so I need a little bit stronger of a tool, and so these work great. As you can see, just plops it right off. I'm going to use one of these little branches. I'll call them branches. I'm not even sure what you call them. But anyhow, they have wire inside of them so you can manipulate them to whatever shape you like. And I am just going to put it there at the top of the portion of my sled. And then my bow will go on top of that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and get some ribbon out. This is some ribbon I picked up last year. I picked up so much clearance ribbon. I highly recommend buying on clearance after the season. It was like, I mean, we're doing Christmas, but it was like Christmas opening up all my ribbon I bought for super cheap last year. So anyhow, for this type of ribbon, I am just going to make a loop by gluing the two ends together, and then I will gather it in the middle, and I'm going to make 2 of those loops. Okay, now I'm going to lay the shorter loop on top of the longer loop. I'm going to cut just a little piece of the ribbon here to cinch around the center, as you can see, just like that. And I will glue that together. Okay, now my ribbon needs some tails, so I'm going to cut a long strip. And I'm going to go ahead and dovetail the edges of both the sides, the edges of both of this ribbon, and then I will just kind of cinch it there in the middle. And I'm just going to take a little piece of twine and tie it just so it stays. I don't always do that, but this time I just feel like it was going to stay better if I did that. And then I'll glue it to the back of the bow. Okay, now it's just a matter of gluing all this down, and then this cute rustic sled is all complete. Okay, this is a super simple DIY. I picked these up at the Dollar Tree. I had them both out because I wasn't sure which frame I was going to use, but I do go with the black. And then I just Googled a gnome, Christmas gnome clip art, and this is what I found. And I just printed it out on my computer, and I'm just going to put it inside this sign and add a little bow, and this will be a cute little piece of art. I did write on there the size. It says 4.75 inches. It's just a hair smaller than that. It's like 4.65 inches is what the measurements are for the inside of this sign. Okay, so this is a super, super, super easy DIY. I almost feel like I'm cheating, but I got this pack of 3 gift boxes at Dollar Tree. So you're getting 3 for $1, okay? And then I just grabbed one of their, I think, what is that? Oh yeah, 8 by 10 frames. And it's not quite 8 by 10, but it does work. And so I just cut it down and put it into the frame, and it's like instant Christmas decor. Now, of course, I'm not just going to leave it like that. I am going to embellish it. But talk about easy and inexpensive. So the frame was $1, and then what, 33 cents for this part of the box? I mean, so inexpensive. I wanted to make all of them up to show them for you guys, but I was only able to get to one of these as I was on a time crunch before surgery happened. At first, I leave the glass in, and then I take the glass out and kind of decide the look. I prefer it with the glass out. I just think it gives it more of a sign look than a picture, and that's just the way I chose to go with it. But you can do it either way, whatever floats your boat. Again, it's cardboard, so it sticks in there really, really well. See, look at that. That's it, fast craft. But of course, I'm not going to leave it. I'm going to add a bow. And then I decide that a bow isn't just quite enough because that's still just a little too easy. So I just grabbed one of those Walmart ornaments, added that to it, and I just think it just took this to another level, and it cost under $2. And as you can see, I'm wearing the lovely hospital bracelet because they make you wear it a whole week before your actual surgery. So isn't that silly? But anyhow, and then I also like almost tore my fingernail off, so that's what that big old band-aid is on my finger. I tell you, I'm a falling apart. And so I was rushing to get these done before I went in for that surgery. Again, the surgery went great. I'm recovering. I'm doing well. Just going to take me a little bit to get back to normal. But I can sit on the couch here and I can voice over these DIYs for you. But again, I'm really surprised with how this turned out. I thought it might look cheesier, but I think it just turned out really good. What do you think? For these next projects, I'm going to use these 2 signs from Dollar Tree, and I will be painting both of them. I'm going to start out with this Candy Cane Lane sign here, and I'm just going to cover it with 2 coats of white chalk paint, and this will become our base. For the Mary sign, I want to give it a galvanized look, and so I'm going to take some of the white chalk paint and some of the black, and I'm just going to make a gray color. I had poured all this out, and then I had a fan next to my desk and it kind of dried it, so it got a little bit gloppy here. But once I find a gray that I like, I will cover the whole thing in that base color first. And once that has been covered, now I'm just going to kind of take little pieces here of white, black. I'm not going to mix it really good. I kind of want it on my brush messy. And then I'm just going to pounce it onto this sign here. And it's going to give it that galvanized look. And I just start pouncing around. If I have too much black, I'll add white. If I have too much white, I'll add black. And then if it starts, one area just doesn't look right, I'll pounce some just gray back onto it, and just do this onto the whole sign, and it will give it that metal look. Again, I'm just going to keep playing around with these colors, just tapping and tapping until I get the look I want. And now I want to write the word Christmas on our base, and just to give you an idea of some options you have at Dollar Tree, there's stickers, there's rub-ons, all sorts of things. Well, I didn't have enough S's in my rub-ons, so I went into my scrapbook stash and I found these alphabet stickers in there. They're a little bit raised, and I end up using these, which you can find these at Michael's and Joann's and Hobby Lobby, and I even think Walmart has them too. So you can find alphabet stickers pretty much anywhere. So I'm just going to go ahead and line those up on and stick them down. I didn't stick them all the way down at first just to make sure that I had my spacing correct. And then once I do that, I'm going to take some more of that twine and wrap it around my edges. This will tie in nicely with the last project we made. And lastly, I will just hot glue this Mary onto our base, and then this project is complete. For this project, I'm going to use some scrapbook paper from this pad here. It's from Craftsmart, and it's called Evergreen Cabin. I picked it up at Michael's last year. It's just like the perfect rustic scrapbook paper. And then I'm using one of these mason jar signs from Dollar Tree. And these are yardsticks from Walmart. They're 98 cents. And they just have the cutest plaques on the top, and I just pop them right off. So the ones that I've already popped off, these are from last year's that I bought a bunch of. I just thought they were so cute, and for 98 cents, they make such a cute thing. So the two with the sticks on them still are from this year. And then some of this buffalo check burlap that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. It's normally $9.99. Almost always half off, and I made so many Christmas projects with it last year, so it's a really good buy. Okay, so I'm just going to get this mason jar sign ready for this project. It's really good if you buy the fall ones and not this Halloween one, because you have to rip that thing off. Anyhow, I just painted that lid with a black chalk paint because, you know, obviously purple's not going to work for us. Alright, and so now I'm just tracing out the shape of the mason jar on that scrapbook paper, and then I'm just going to Mod Podge it down. I know this is going kind of fast, but it's pretty basic, and I think you guys following along here know that I love to Mod Podge scrapbook paper to projects. Okay, and so I'm just going to smooth that down, and then our mason jar is ready to decorate. Okay, so I'm taking that burlap that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. Again, that goes such a long way, like such a long way. So I just cut a strip and I'm just gluing it around this mason jar, and this will be the background of the little plaque that you can choose from any of the ones that you might have grabbed from Walmart, or any other ornament, little piece of sign that you may have picked up. Any of those things will work to complete this project. But yeah, I'm totally in love with those garden stakes, those little mini ones that Walmart makes for 98 cents. Such a good deal. Okay, now that I've got that settled, I'm going to take my twine here. I'm going to wrap it around the lid a few times and then just tie a simple bow. Another embellishment that would work on this is those silver words that Dollar Tree makes. They come in a 3-pack. I think they say like joy and believe and things like that. That would also look really cute on this project if you are able to make it to Walmart and get any of those plaques. Okay, right here I'm going to make one of my twine bows. I say I'm not the one that came up with it. It's just a cute bow that works well. And so if you need a slower tutorial on how to make this, you can check out my bow video, but they're very simple and effective. And once that's complete, it'll be time just to glue everything down, and then this project will be finished. And this is just a smaller mason jar, tabletop decor to accent the project we made previously. I picked that up from Dollar Tree, some little ornaments from Walmart, some more of this burlap buffalo check fabric, again from Hobby Lobby. And this little burlap star that I picked up from Hobby Lobby as well. It came in like a pack of 6, I want to say, in the ornament section. And it's like a really good deal. Makes great backgrounds for these projects. So I'm just going to take apart this twine off of this. I'm actually going to reuse it. So don't cut it or destroy it because it actually does come off fairly easily. And I am going to reuse it. And so once I get that off, I'm going to go ahead and just cut out a piece of this burlap to cover the mason jar. I will glue it down, and then I will cut around it to finish it off. And I'm going to just reattach this twine that was already on here and just wrap it around, glue it down, and it's really easy because you've already got a great embellishment and you didn't have to pay any extra for it. And now I'm just going to finish embellishing this little tabletop mason decor by attaching this burlap star and then just picking out one of these cute little ornaments off this sheet from Walmart and gluing that down. And then this cute project is also done. For this first project, we're going to use this Peace on Earth unfinished wood sign from Dollar Tree. One of their Christmas signs. We'll use the back. And I grabbed some of these bells. They were on clearance last year at Joann's. Some twine, some of these ornaments from Walmart, and some antique wax, and some white chalk paint, a little bit of wood filler, and then just any leaf or Christmas pick that you find. So first I'm just going to prep this sign. I'm going to use a little wood filler here on these little circles so that it will look like one complete sign. Once that dries and I can sand it down, then I will paint the whole sign with chalk paint. While that wood filler dries, I will go ahead and paint this sign with the antique wax. This stuff works so great. It looks like stain and it goes on really quick and dries really quick. And I just use a light hand, not too heavy. Again, I want it to look like stain. Now I'll just give this a light sand and cover this with white chalk paint. Again, I'm going to use a light hand. I'm not going to fully cover the sign. I'm going to kind of leave some spots that you can see the brown through it because I really want this to have kind of a distressed rustic look. Now I'm just going to attach this Peace on Earth sign, and I am going to make it go all the way to the right because on the left we are going to decorate that side. First, I'm going to take some of this twine and I'm going to wrap it around several times. I believe I do about 3 times here, and then I'll just tie it off in the back. I got this gorgeous pick from Michael's in the grab bag last year. I literally got like 15 of these in a $5 grab bag. It was amazing, and I want to say they're like $20 retail, which is crazy to me. But I just go ahead and I clip off a couple different types of leaves that were on there just to kind of find the one that I like best, and I go ahead and I pick this one, and so I will glue that down, and then I grab one of these wooden looking ornaments from Walmart. I am loving their ornaments this year, these little tiny ones. They make amazing embellishments. And so I'm just going to take this one here that looks like a tree and I think just fits absolutely perfect. And then again, one of these bells from Joann's. Again, I got these on clearance last year. I bought so many things like on super clearance, so this project is actually super inexpensive to make. So make sure you catch those after sales in January and get some good stuff for next year. So once I kind of decide that I like my design, I'll go ahead and attach everything down. Lastly, I'll just cut some of this wrapping paper from Dollar Tree just to finish off the back of the sign. All right, for this first project, I got some socks, a pack of popcorn, some rubber bands, one of the Dollar Tree gnomes, and some other little goodies here to make our gnomes. So I normally make my gnomes from scratch, but since the Dollar Tree had those super cute gnomes, which by the way I love and they don't need anything, but I need more gnomes, so gotta switch them up. So I'm going to take this sock and I'm just going to add some popcorn kernels. This is just going to add weight. So you can use rice, rocks, I've used beans, so any of those things just to add some weight so your gnome can sit up. Okay, and I'm just going to add some more of the popcorn kernels. And like I said, the Dollar Tree gnome is so cute this year. Like I have, as of recording this, I have not found the big gnomes yet at Dollar Tree, just the little ornament ones. And I'm going to just take a rubber band to to tie that off so we don't spill our kernels. And I'll just cut off the excess. Now, what I'm going to use off of this is its beard, its nose, and its arms. And again, like I said, super cute gnome. But this one's going to be a little bit bigger, and again, it'll be a different look so that I can have many different gnomes. I'm just kind of cutting up off the glue that was on this nose, which isn't too big of a deal since I'm going to just be gluing it back down anyway. So again, I'm just going to start kind of taking this gnome apart. Kind of feel bad, but again, I bought so many of these, so don't you worry. I kept some just as is. And now I'm just going to put the beard and nose right back onto the gnome. These tree skirts from Dollar Tree are so cute, and my whole decor is in buffalo plaid, so this was perfect to make his hat out of. And so I'm going to have plenty of this material left. So I'm just going to kind of make like a cone shape and make sure I have enough to fit over his head, and then I will glue this hat up to be his gnome hat. For this next step, you could use anything, a pipe cleaner, piece of wire, whatever. This was in my stash for the Christmas stuff, and since it has wire in it, I was like, I'll just use this, which is just one of their little wired, I don't know what branches. So by doing this, you just kind of can mold the hat a little more to get the shape that you like. I'm just going to cut a little piece of this trim and roll it into a ball, and this will just go on the tip of his hat. Okay, now I'm going to embellish the hat. This is a pick I believe I picked up from Joann's on clearance for probably 50 cents last year. I have so much stuff from last year that I got on clearance. I love a good clearance. So yeah, a lot of that. So I'm just going to embellish the hat right here. And then I'm going to add the arms and a little package. So this package that came from that pick was just a little bit too big, so I'm just going to cut it down right here. So as you see, if you don't have something like this, just grab a little square, a wood square or a styrofoam square, and then just wrap it like you would your own Christmas package. For this project, you're going to need a mason jar, a piece of light cardboard. This came in a pack of paper. A gnome nose, I used a wood bead. A sock. I picked this one up at Dollar Tree. And then just some fabric. This is an old scarf I was actually about to put into the donate pile. And then I was like, wait, this is material I can use. So you're just going to put the sock around the mason jar. And this will be our elf gnome body. So this guy doesn't have a beard. You can add a beard if you'd like. I just wanted to give him more of a young elf look. So I just leave the sock up like that. And then I'm just going to roll this cardboard piece into a cone shape, very similar to the very first gnome we did, and to make his hat. And then I will cover it in that green felt. And it's okay if that looks messy because we are going to add like a brim of the hat, if that's the correct word. So I'm just going to cut, about a 1-inch piece of this felt, and then I will glue it onto the hat and then glue it underneath inside to give it a nice finished edge. Okay, and there's my hat is complete. I will go ahead and I'm going to glue the little nose on there, and then I'm going to start embellishing the hat. And I just used some of the tassel from the scarf, but again, you could just cut some pieces of your fabric, and I'm going to put that at the top. And then I grabbed one of my other little picks I picked up from Walmart last year, which was like a curly Q buffalo check item. So I'm just going to attach that to the hat. Now, the point of this project is I am not going to glue this hat on. And so the hat comes on and off, and you could fill the jar with treats and give this as a cute gift. And so the options are, you know, all sorts of different things that you could put inside the jar. Maybe a hot cocoa mix, maybe even just like a soup mix, any kind of fun thing that you can put into a mason jar, you could put into this mason jar, and then the hat would just come off like a lid. For this next project, I picked up one of these aprons for $1 from Dollar General. I saw the apron and knew exactly that I would be taking that truck off. The apron is actually very flimsy. It's kind of like a tote bag, maybe a shopping bag. I'm not sure, but it's not very strong. And so I just am able to rip this felt truck and tree right off of it. It comes off really easy. And then I'm just gonna add it to a sign and embellish the sign. It's a super quick and easy DIY. I'm just going to take one of these Dollar Tree signs. I use this one quite a bit because it's just a great shape. I'm going to sand off the glitter and then just add a piece of scrapbook paper. This is probably my most used piece of scrapbook paper that I get from Hobby Lobby. It has that shiplap look, and 4 for $1. It's a very, very good find and can spruce up a project real easily. So again, like I said, I'm just going to tack this down, put my truck on, and then I kind of decide it needs a border, and so I'll use some of the nautical rope to make a border and embellish with some ribbon, and there you go. So of course I need a gnome garland. I'm going to use these snowflakes and this berry garland from Dollar Tree, and then these little gnomes are from Dollar General. They were $1 each. So cute. They had 3 different styles. You could use the ones from Dollar Tree as well. I just liked these ones. They were just a little bit smaller. And this is just simple. I'm just going to tie them every other item on the berry garland. So gnome, snowflake, gnome, snowflake. And then I'm just going to finish off the snowflakes with just a small little buffalo check ribbon. I find that garlands are the hardest to photograph because of how long they are, and I don't have my Christmas decor up quite yet, and so here you just see a portion of it. This is going to be our outdoor standing gnome. I'm just kind of showing you some of the fabrics that I've picked up from Dollar Tree, some blankets, some scarves that you could probably piece together to use. You'll need some gloves or mittens. I use the styrofoam ball, also from Dollar Tree. I'm so excited they have those now. You're going to need a mop head for the beard. So I picked up this blanket at CVS. It was $3.99. I had a 40% off coupon, so it was $2. And so that is what worked out best for me. And so then, of course, you're going to need a tomato cage. I picked up a couple different sizes. I plan to make a bunch of these. So you just rubber band the tip of your tomato cage, and so this is going to be our gnome's entire body. And so I'm going to go ahead and take the blanket, wrap it around, kind of see where I'm going to need it, and cut it out the amount that I need. And so you're getting to see my living room floor because my workstation where I normally craft is not big enough to handle this big project. I don't do so well sitting on the floor. I have a bad back, so you'll see the light change quite a bit because I took a lot of breaks and I went from day to night. And then, of course, you guys get to see my little doggie because she always wants to be right by me. And she's just the cutest little thing. You get lots of fabric left over, which is great. And so, again, you can just go buy a piece of felt or a piece of fleece. It's practically always on sale at Joann's. But this was just so easy because for $2 I got a blanket at CVS when I just happened to be in there. So I'm just going to fit this on here just like I like, and then I will glue down the sides here. And I use the seam that they already had on the edge of their blanket, and it looks really nice. And then I will just glue the bottom down below and get that situated. Also, you might notice a silly bracelet on me. Yeah, I am having a surgery, no biggie. So I had to wear this bracelet the hospital put on before your surgery. I don't know, it's kind of dumb. So, yep, super fun bracelet. Okay, now it's time to put the beard on. So you're going to take all the strings out of your mop head just like that. You just pull them out one at a time and you get a bunch of string. So I'm just going to fold them in half and start gluing them on onto the fabric here. So I think next time, this is the first time I've made this project. So next time I would make the beard go up higher. I feel like this ends up being like a gnome with just like a huge hat. So I'd probably make that beard go higher. So I'm going to do a whole row across, and then I will put another layer on top of that just to give him a nice full beard. Again, also make sure that your center point is where there's no wire from the cage, because mine wasn't quite like that, and then when I put the nose on, it kind of interfered with where the tomato cage was underneath. Now for the nose, I just covered it in this gray sock that I had. I couldn't find any pink ones. I'm not allowed to leave the house, so I couldn't go run and get a pink sock, which I would have done if I could have. But you could use a piece of felt, you could paint it, whatever you want to use for the nose. But my gnome nose is it's just gray, but it works. And then I'll glue that on to my gnome. Okay, so now I'm going to make the brim of the hat. So I just have this piece that I cut from the remnants of the blanket, and I just folded it over and glued it so it's nice and thick. And then I'm just going to drape this around the hat, and it's going to fall over his nose. So this is just going to look like how, if the hat was on his head. Now, I probably would use two different fabrics if I made this again. I'd have one for the body and a different one for the head. But again, this is just what I had on hand, and this is what I made it work. Okay, lastly, I'm just going to make some arms. I just folded over a piece of this fabric again and hot glued it, and then I glued one side shut, as you see here, and kind of just made a seam, and that'll be the top of the arm. And then I'm just going to feed it right inside of the glove here, and that'll be its hand. But I wanted it to have more of a mitten look, so I decide to glue the fingers down so it'll have that mitten look. And those are going to be on the inside. You won't see them anyway. And so I just glue those, and then I shove the sleeve inside and then glue it onto the gnome. And the gnome is done. Again, you can see how I was saying it's like kind of all hat. So when I make the next one, I'm definitely going to go up a little bit higher. And I'm also going to use two different fabrics. And I think that will look really good. But this was a great start, and I hope it inspired you to do one of your own. I hope you enjoyed these gnome projects. I actually had several more I wanted to make, but this video was already so long and had so many gnome projects. So head over to my Instagram, which is $__mom, and you'll get to see the additional gnomes that I make posted over there. I hope you liked this video and that you will hit that like button and subscribe for future videos, because I have lots of Christmas DIYs to come.